Welcome back. JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon and Goldman Sachs' John Waldron are painting a pessimistic future amid a string of shocks rattling the global economy. Both men feel inflation with changing monetary policy and the Ukraine-Russian war are going to kneecap growth prospects for the foreseeable future. Toby, are they right?
Well, I wish I had better news. And excuse me. What is confused all of them, and Jamie Dimon actually sees it locked me up. Jamie Dimon, he sees the money going in and out of Chase, JP Morgan Chase, right? So he has somewhat of a feel that way. On the Goldman Sachs side, he's an international guy, and he sees internationally. What we don't realize in the United States is you think inflation is bad here. You should be in Europe. You should be in Italy. Oh, my golly. They are slave to energy.
Come on.
Russian energy. So,
we don't care about what's going on over there.
Well, yeah, but remember, all of the market cap of our stock market, Tato, is in 10 companies that are global companies. And so when they look out at the globe, I know, Buffalo, New York is really your center of focus in life. But
oh, God, no.
But the rest of the world is not responding well to this energy crisis and the food crisis and the fertilizer crisis, and everybody's raising rates at the same time.
Right.
In Ukraine, the prime rate is 25%.
Yeah.
In some of the European countries, it's 12%. So if you expand your horizon, there is a reason why they are so shook up.
Well, I got to tell you, though, I am very concerned that you have leaders of major bulge bracket banks that are this pessimistic. I mean, this is unheard of in corporate America. CEOs are always known to paint this rosy picture. Things are great, yada, yada, yada. Even the President of the United States will come out, like in his presser today, are talking about the jobs report of how great everything is. Oh, we're doing this and doing that. And that things are wonderful. I mean, you rarely have leaders that say how pessimistic things are going to be. But here's the big concern.
What does that mean, Todd?
Hold on. Here's what I think
mean?
It means. Here's what it means. When you have his bankers, like Goldman bankers or JP Morgan bankers, they're going out, they have their dinners. Toby, Jordan, I'm sure you guys have been involved in these dinners. You guys know that people are talking, and this is really inside Wall Street stuff. If they are pessimistic at the top, imagine what the talk is like at the bottom. And therefore, you're going to have a real revolt. You're not going to have as many M&A deals that are taking place. You're going to have a lot less IPO offerings. So you have a number of issues right now that could be a bottleneck. And I think when I hear from those guys being that pessimistic, the future is just as dismal as it's ever been.
So, Jordan, we hear a lot of times it's business, it's not personal, try to, check the emotions at the door. But when you're listening to these statements by Jamie Dimon, he was very emotional talking about a hurricane coming. I mean, how do you see this?
Right. Well, he also reversed the course from the week before. We saw that everything was calm, but he's now going to be known as Hurricane Jamie, and frankly, he has he's been honest about where things are. But I want to put things in perspective here right now. I didn't get hit by a piece of sky, even in the worst of the market. So what we have here is what's called a bear market, and it's called the recession. And the thing is, these are cycles, and anyone who thought the business cycle was cured had their head in the wrong place. So the whole key is.
Jordan, are you trying to tell me there's no such thing? I mean, I thought markets always went up. There's no such thing as a down market, right? I mean, isn't that what all the investors keep telling us?
Here's what someone said to me the other day, that I said, look, the market is in these 10-year cycles where it had these very high double digits for the last several years. The next couple of years will look nothing like it. So they said, oh, you mean we'll only get 8-9%? And I'm like, no, that's even above historical rates. How about -8? How about things equaling out? So the point is, bear markets aren't terrible. Recessions aren't terrible if you plan around them and work around them. And frankly, at the bottom of the recession, as we know, is a great time to build. It's a great time to buy. You just don't want to buy as the storm is starting to come. You need to wait till the storm kind of exhausted a lot of its pressure already.
I'm getting a side hustle. I'm going to work for Tobin Smith Inc.
So, Toby,
Well,
do you think the markets have become complacent with inflation?
No, I mean, we were complacent because, I mean, part of the thing about the last 12 years, but other than the last 3 months, we also had 2% or lower inflation. We've never had a situation where the Fed, pumped in ultimately $6 trillion of cash money into the monetary system, so that had to go somewhere. And we had below 2% inflation because, shock of shocks, when we outsourced all our manufacturing and we got Amazon and we got somebody to deliver stuff for 50% less from Walmart, all our cost of living went down. It's called the Great Moderation, right? So in that situation, we've heard, and I've talked this story a lot about how essentially, remember, we had the great pull forward of demand for like Zoom.com and the great pull forward for it. Well, we had the great pull forward of equity stock returns. We pulled forward 25 years of returns into 8 to 9 years because at 17% returns for 10 years when we used to have a 7% rate of return. And now we've pulled forward everything we can. By mathematics, by financial gravity, we got to give some back. And that's to Jordan's point. The person says, oh, we're only going to make 8%. Dude, you only made 7% a year in 40 years. So it's got to pull back.
Let me bring something out here. Not only, I mean, you talked globally a few minutes ago. It's really important. There was no playbook ever written when interest rates were negative. So we had trillions of dollars at negative interest rates throughout Europe. And people were saying that at 0.02, our rates were high. So there was clearly some sort of funny house mirrors going on. But when you talk to economists, there is no playbook coming out of negative interest rates. It was a weird time, and it was a funhouse time. But I've said before, if you didn't hear the music getting louder, if you didn't see the chairs being taken away several months ago, then you haven't been around markets for a very long time.
So, Todd, this week we saw Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen come out. She said she got it wrong when she was the Fed chairwoman.
Wow.
We also heard the press secretary for the White House say, we don't watch the stock market every day when she was asked that question. So, I mean, what do you think the market is taking from this with the administration moving forward? What are investors thinking?
Yeah, who's running the show? That's what everybody on Wall Street wants to know. And the traders are asking that question. Look, when the White House comes out and says, yeah, we're not watching everything every day, guess what? You have to think about how people vote, and they vote with their wallets. And that might be something that the Democrats might want to start focusing on. But realistically, going forward now, you have so many headwinds that are taking place. You have higher gas prices. Food costs are skyrocketing. You obviously have a depreciating stock market. We have so many issues right now, and the only good thing that can come out of any of this is that you have a jobs report that's pumping out almost 400,000 new jobs. That's the only sign that's positive. So where do we go if we lose that and we start losing jobs? Say those jobs numbers start declining rapidly, which could happen, and a lot of Wall Street analysts are predicting that. You're going to have it's just going to be hell, because then people are just going to lose it. And now you're really going to have problems in the United States.
All right, we have to leave it there. Thanks, guys. It's not all doom and gloom on Wall Street. We have one stock that continues to crush its quarterly earnings. So which one is it? Stay with us after the break to find out.